Today's lesson is called The Wonders of Argentina. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
And my name is Helen.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, this is day 2 of our lesson on Argentina. Yes, today, again, we're talking about the wonders of Argentina. Argentina is just jam-packed with wonderful things. Sure, there are great European cities there, but there are also wonderful mountains to behold and some very strangely wonderful places like Tierra del Fuego.
Right, so in day 1, we've looked at some of these natural wonders of Argentina. And here in day 2, we're going to take a different look at Argentina. We're going to be looking more at the cultural life, the history of this wonderful country.
Yes, we're going to be focusing some more on the cities of Argentina. But don't worry. Cities in Argentina are diverse and wonderful and great. So even though we won't be focusing on national parks and mountains and strangely wonderful places like Tierra del Fuego, you'll still get your fill today when it comes to the wonders of Argentina. So don't fret. Don't worry. Even though we are going to be focusing on cities, you're still going to be blown away with how wonderful Argentina is. Remember, Argentina has a rich cultural life, and a lot of that culture, you're going to encounter that in cities. So with that, folks, let's go ahead and get started on today's lesson. Let's go ahead and take a short break. But when we come back, we are going to experience some city life in Argentina, and we're going to start in the capital, Buenos Aires. So let's go ahead and take that break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
After exploring some of Argentina's natural wonders, get ready to experience local city life. Buenos Aires, the country's capital, is over 4 centuries old and famous for its cultural traditions and European-influenced architecture.
And welcome back. Now, the first part of today's lesson, in the first sentence, we have, after exploring some of Argentina's natural wonders, get ready to experience local city life. So we're going to be changing pace here. Local city life will probably have a faster pace or more exciting pace than exploring the natural wonders of Argentina. And we're going to be looking at local city life in Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires. Now, Buenos Aires, the country's capital, is over 4 centuries old and famous for its cultural traditions and European-influenced architecture.
There you go. On day 1 of our lesson, I mentioned, hey, if you go to Argentina, certain cities that you visit will feel very European. You might go to Argentina and think, wait a minute, when did I leave South America and enter Europe? And apparently, the place where you can really start to feel this is in the capital there in Buenos Aires, which is the capital of Argentina. Yes, by the way, we are going to be focusing on this very city to really get a good idea of what city life is in Argentina. Okay, we don't have enough time in our program to stop in many different cities, so we're going to focus on one and to get a good idea of what city life is like throughout the whole of Argentina. Anyways, Buenos Aires is a great place to visit if you do want to get a feel for city life in Argentina. It's very old. It's got that lengthy history. It's filled with all sorts of culture, and it has this European influence. And this is very, very evident when you look at the architecture in this city. Now, here we have the word architecture. Here the word architecture is being used in reference to the style and the design of buildings in a certain place. Okay, if you go to Buenos Aires, you think that you're in Europe because all of the buildings there look like European buildings. There is European style or European influenced architecture there in Buenos Aires. Now, it's almost time for us to take our first break, but before we do, let's go ahead and take a look at an example sentence for the word architecture. You could say, she said, I like the architecture in this city. I decided then and there that we'd return someday.
Right, or you could say this city has a lot of modern architecture along with the ancient buildings.
So there you go. Sounds like Buenos Aires. You have a very old city, but with some modern architecture there as well. A good mix to give you that nice cultural vibe. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Plaza Dorrego is one of Buenos Aires' oldest squares, and on Sundays it hosts an antiques market that draws thousands of locals and tourists. Aside from hunting for hard-to-find treasures, people go there to watch outdoor shows put on by traditional singers and tango dancers. The square has several cafes where you can enjoy the lively atmosphere. Buenos Aires has a small street museum called Caminito, or Little Street in Spanish. Paved with cobblestones and lined with bright, colorful houses, this area is a good place to watch artists at work and view their finished paintings.
各位好，第二部分看到单字 antique， 在课文中做名词，指古物或古董。举例来说 I received all of my parents' antiques when they passed away. 在我父母过世后，我接收了他们所有的古董。另外 antique 除了可以当名词，还可以当形容词，指古董的或古风的。例如 The writer furnished his library with an antique desk. 那位作家用一张古董的桌子来装饰他的图书室。再来我们看到单字 tango， 这个字是名词，指探戈舞。像是 Tina likes all kinds of dance, but tango is her favorite. Tina 喜欢所有种类的舞蹈，但探戈舞是她最喜欢的。接着看到单字是名词 cobblestone， 指鹅卵石，所以可以说 Tourists enjoy the quaint cobblestone streets of this town's shopping district. 观光客喜欢这个城市中雅致且铺有原石的商圈街区。
And welcome back. In the first part, we talked about the European-influenced architecture of Buenos Aires, and here we find that there are other things that we can appreciate and do in the city, and one of this is found on Plaza Dorrego. Plaza Dorrego is a square in Buenos Aires, and it's one of the oldest squares. And what happens on this square? Every Sunday, it hosts an antiques market, and this market draws thousands of locals and tourists.
So there you go. Usually on Sundays in North America, if you go to a city, there'll be farmers markets. Here in South America, though, in Buenos Aires, on Sundays they have these antiques markets, which actually sound better to me. I'm not a big fan of farmers markets, but hey, I do like antiques. By the way, when you talk about antiques, you're talking about items of value that are very, very old. Usually an antique has to be at least 25 years old. If someone was talking about an antique piece of furniture, they're talking about a beautiful piece of furniture, let's say, that is at least 25 years old. Now, some people have told me, though, that, 25 years, that doesn't cut it either. Sometimes antiques have to be more than 100 years old.
Right. I would probably consider anything that's just over 25 years old to be vintage. That's a word that's used often to describe things that were produced in the 1950s, 1940s, 1930s. But for something that's antique, I would date that to, I would say, about the 19th century or the 18th century. So at this antiques market, you will probably find a lot of decorative objects, vases, or silverware, paintings, furniture that go back around 200 years. And given Argentina's lengthy history and European influences, you can probably find some pretty valuable and beautiful objects at this antiques market.
So there you go. Maybe these things aren't ancient, but they're quite old, quite beautiful, and quite valuable. Yes, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about antiques. And yes, these markets, they sound fantastic. Now, I say these markets. Let's focus on the one in Plaza Dorrego, or Plaza Dorrego, I should say. And yes, every Sunday, this plaza holds a very famous antiques market, and apparently it draws thousands of locals and tourists as well. And aside from hunting for hard-to-find treasures, people go there to watch outdoor shows put on by traditional singers and tango dancers. And there you have it. You can't talk about Argentina without talking about the tango. By the way, Helen, are you able to dance the tango?
I cannot dance the tango, but I can definitely watch other people dance the tango. I think it's a very, very enjoyable dance to watch. And
I think that's a good idea. We'll watch the people do the tango. Actually, I can't dance at all, tango or not. I just can't do it. So, Helen, I think that's a fantastic idea. Maybe later on we'll watch some people tango on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So on this square, you can watch people do the tango. There are probably professional tango dancers and also traditional singers and musicians. And all of this together make up a very lively atmosphere. And the word atmosphere here means the air that surrounds the earth or the air that surrounds us in a certain place. But in this context, atmosphere refers to all the things that are happening, that are occurring in our immediate surroundings, and how all of these things affect the way we feel or the way we perceive the place. So the atmosphere of a place is the tone of that place. A place could have a peaceful atmosphere if it's quiet and serene, and it makes you feel at peace.
There you go. That's a good word, tone. The tone of a place, how that place makes you feel. Okay, you're sitting there. Oh, how does it make me feel? If it's a quiet place, yeah, you'll feel relaxed and you'll feel at peace. Okay, makes sense. It is a peaceful, quiet place. But let's say you're sitting at a cafe and there's a construction site next door and people are jackhammering away and stuff like that. The atmosphere there is not going to be relaxing at all. In fact, the atmosphere of that place is probably going to induce some anxiety. You're going to want to leave that place as soon as possible. The tone is not welcoming at all in a place like that. But yes, if we were being scientific and literal, if we were to talk about the atmosphere, we'd be talking about that cloud or blanket of gas that surrounds planet Earth, okay? Like the ozone is a part of the atmosphere. And I mention the ozone because there was an ozone hole in the southern part of our globe for a very long time. I believe it's only now started to heal itself. And actually, for a while there, it was dangerous to go to Tierra del Fuego because that part of the atmosphere didn't exist over Tierra del Fuego. Yes, there was no ozone there, so it might have been very easy to contract skin cancer if you lived in Tierra del Fuego because there was no ozone. That part of the atmosphere was gone. Now, is it like that anymore? I don't think so, but hey, you can still go to Tierra del Fuego and to Argentina for a short trip. You probably won't develop cancer while there.
So aside from Tierra del Fuego, Plaza Dorrego, there are other places in Buenos Aires that you can go to. And one of these interesting places is called Caminito. Now, Buenos Aires has a small street, and this street is called Caminito. It means little street in Spanish. Now, what is so special about Caminito? We find out that it's paved with cobblestones and lined with bright, colorful houses. And this area is a good place to watch artists at work and view their finished paintings.
Paved with cobblestones, and you can watch artists at work, and you can also view their paintings. That sounds a whole lot like Europe to me, but remember, you're still in Argentina. But yes, if you do go to Argentina and you visit cities there, you will get that unmistakable feeling as though you just walked into Europe or into a European city. Okay, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be wrapping up our article on Argentina.
While cemeteries may not be typical tourist spots, Recoleta Cemetery is nevertheless not to be missed. Ranked by CNN as one of the 10 prettiest cemeteries in the world, Recoleta contains gorgeous statues and tombs, many of which are considered national historical monuments by the government. Argentina's wealth of natural and cultural attractions makes the country a must-see destination. If you ever find yourself in South America, seize the opportunity to make your way there.
第三部分，我们看到名词 cemetery 指公墓或墓地，像是 The family chose a cemetery with beautiful view and peaceful environment after Grandpa passed away. 这个家族在祖父过世后，为他挑了一个有美丽风景与宁静环境的墓地。接下来看到的单字是 nevertheless， 这个字是副词，指然而、不过或尽管如此。举例来说，Betty can be difficult to work with. Nevertheless, she is one of our most talented performers. 和 Betty 共事不容易，尽管如此，她是我们最有才华的表演者之一。另外，补充 nevertheless 的同义词 nonetheless, N-O-N-E-T-H-E-L-E-S-S, nonetheless. 我们可以说 Anne's job is stressful at times. Nonetheless, she enjoys it because it challenges her.尽管 Anne 的工作有时候压力大，她还是因为工作带给她的挑战感到很享受。再来，我们看到形容词 gorgeous， 指美丽动人的、极其漂亮的。例如 The couple stood on the hotel balcony, gazing at the gorgeous sunset. 这对情侣站在旅馆的阳台，望着美丽的夕阳。也可以说 Rhonda creates gorgeous window displays for several local shops.Rhonda 为当地好几家商店创作了美轮美奂的橱窗展示。最后我们看到一个片语 make one's way， 表示前往，后面常接上地方副词或 through 加名词。举例来说 When we heard the closing broadcast, we made our way to the exit of the amusement park. 当我们听到打烊广播时，我们朝着游乐园的出口方向前进。我们还可以说In the treasure hunting game, the player chooses to make his way through the tunnel to see if there's more treasure in it. 在寻宝游戏中，玩家选择前往隧道看看，那里会不会有更多的宝藏。
And welcome back. We left before with a little walk through Caminito, which is a little street in Buenos Aires where artists work and you can see a lot of colorful houses. Now, after that, we head to the cemeteries. Now, that may be surprising because usually people don't go to cemeteries when they're on holiday visiting a foreign country or a foreign city. But here in Buenos Aires, the situation is different because while cemeteries may not be typical tourist spots, Recoleta Cemetery is nevertheless not to be missed. Now here the word nevertheless simply means still, despite a fact or idea that was just mentioned, meaning in this case, despite the fact that cemeteries aren't usually a part of people's itineraries on holiday, the fact is, in the case of Buenos Aires, Recoleta Cemetery is worth visiting. Nevertheless, it's worth visiting.
So there you go. We started out at this charming street museum called Caminito. Oh, it was wonderful and charming and great. A big-time tourist trap. And then next we moved to the cemetery? A cemetery? No one goes to a cemetery when they travel. No one wants to be sad or think gloomy thoughts when they're traveling. But hey, this is an exception to the rule, okay? Recoleta Cemetery is nevertheless not to be missed. So this is confounding our expectations here. Yeah, usually when you're traveling, you don't want to go to a cemetery. Going to a cemetery would not be a good tourist destination. But hey, Recoleta Cemetery kind of breaks the mold here. You have to visit this cemetery while traveling. How about that? Anyways, more on this cemetery. Ranked by CNN as one of the 10 prettiest cemeteries in the world, Recoleta contains gorgeous statues and tombs, many of which are considered national historical monuments by the government. So there you go. Why go to the cemetery? Because it is filled with gorgeous stuff and historical stuff too. Now, before we move on, we've got 2 vocabulary words to cover. The first of these is the word tomb. A tomb is a place where a person is buried. But a tomb is more than just a grave. Yeah, very often, tombs are like room-like places where people are buried. Then we also have this word monument. A monument is any structure that has been built to remember or to commemorate someone or something.
Right. Monuments can be statues or buildings or pretty much anything like these things. For instance, the Statue of Liberty is a famous monument in New York City. So Recoleta Cemetery is probably like an outdoor museum with these gorgeous tombs and pretty monuments. It's really worth visiting.
There you go. This is not your normal run-of-the-mill cemetery. When you go there, you won't think gloomy thoughts. You'll think, wow, this is a wonderful place. This place is really super beautiful, filled with gorgeous stuff like statues and tombs, and also many national historical monuments. How about that? Anyways, folks, it is now time to read the final paragraph of our lesson. It begins by saying, Argentina's wealth of natural and cultural attractions makes the country a must-see destination. If you ever find yourself in South America, seize the opportunity to make your way there. Now, here we've got this phrase, to make your way. Okay, if you make your way somewhere, you go to that place. You go forward in that direction. You kind of progress towards your destination. Okay. Basically, though, if you make your way somewhere, you go there. You find, in this situation, you'd be finding a way to make Argentina a part of your trip to South America. That's all that we're saying here.
So, for instance, if you're going to Paris, you want to make sure to make your way to the Louvre.
You gotta go to the Louvre if you go to Paris. It's the world's greatest museum. So make your way there if you're ever in Gay Paris. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break. But don't go away. The Chinese teacher is on her way.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分的第二句提到说 Aside from hunting for hard-to-find treasures, people go there to watch outdoor shows put on by traditional singers and tango dancers. 除了搜寻难找到的宝物之外，人们还会到那里观赏由传统歌手和 tango 的舞者演出的户外表演。好，句子里面的 put on 它有演出举办的意思，那我们可以用 put on a good show 或是 put on a great show 来表达演出成功，表现杰出。不过啊，这个用语它也有比较负面的意思哦，它是指做戏，故意把情绪做很夸张的表现。像蕾哈娜有一首歌蛮好听的，叫 Take a Bow， 它有这个下台鞠躬的意思。那它就是在讲说花心的男友被抓包，然后还跑来女友家哭哭啼啼请求原谅。那里面就有两句是这样唱，他说 But you put on quite a show, really had me going. But you put on quite a show， 意思就是你真的很会演诶。Really had me going， 本来是 You really had me going， 意思就是你差点要把我骗倒了。当我们说 have somebody going， 就有口语中有这种一时把人唬住的意思。好，那么他这边说 put on quite a show， 意思就是不是你真的表演，是你很会演。然后歌名就说拜托你赶快不要演了，赶快下台一鞠躬好吗？好，这边我们再补充一下 aside from 的用法。aside from 它是片语介系词，后面要接名词或是动名词。那它有两种语义哦。第一种就是课文的用法，它用来表达说除了什么什么以外还怎么样，意思就是说它后面这个人事物是有包括在内的。那这时候 aside from 它就跟 besides 或者是 in addition to 意思相同。例如 aside from jogging, he also likes swimming。除了慢跑之外，他还喜欢游泳。那么第二种用法是表达除了什么以外呢，就没有怎么样，意思就是说后面的人事物没有包括在内。那这时候 aside from 意思是跟 except for 相同。例如 aside from the cookie, she hasn't eaten anything all day。 除了那片饼干之外，她一整天什么都没吃。好，课文第三部分的第二句提到雷科莱塔公墓呢，被 CNN 列为世界最美的10大公墓之一。然后他就说什么什么 Recoleta contains gorgeous statues and tombs, many of which are considered national historical monuments by the government. 雷科雷塔公墓有非常美丽的雕像和坟墓，那其中有许多被政府认为是国家历史遗迹。 好，句子里面这个 which 就是用来指它前面说的 gorgeous statues and tombs， 所以呢 many of which 就是指说 many of the gorgeous statues and tombs， 在那些美丽的雕像和坟墓呢当中有许多怎么样，而这个量词加上 of which 就是用来表达先行词其中的什么什么，像 many of which 表示先行词其中许多怎么样， some of which 表示先行词其中一些怎么样， most of which 表示先行词其中大多数怎么样。例如 They found a bag of marbles, many of which are extremely rare. 他们发现一袋弹珠，那其中有许多是非常罕见的。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Architecture. This style of architecture was popular around 100 years ago. Antique. On the weekends, Kyle often goes to various shops and markets to hunt for antiques. Atmosphere. Jesse loves the peaceful atmosphere of the park in the early morning when most of the city hasn't woken up yet. Nevertheless, though parts of the museum were closed when we were there, we nevertheless enjoyed our visit. Gorgeous. The cake was so gorgeous that it seemed like a shame to eat it. Tomb. Some people believe that ancient tombs curse anyone who enters them. Monument. The town put up a monument to remember all the soldiers who had fought and died in the war.
Discussion Starter starts now!
All right, everyone, now it's time for our discussion starter. Hey, Helen, if you could only go to one of these places in Argentina, which one would you choose?
I think I would pick Buenos Aires because I want to soak up tango music and watch some tango performances.
Well, because I like out-of-the-way places that are also exotic, I would choose Tierra del Fuego. I believe I would love the nice cold and crisp weather there, and I could also take in the penguins. I could visit a penguin colony while they're in Tierra del Fuego. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.